Last night, how many drinks did you have?
Oh gosh. I feel like I'm a drink champ, you know?
Yeah, you drink champ?
Yeah.
It's always somebody willing to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
You make it down to this level, okay, let's go to the next level. All right, next level, all right.
Yeah.
Now 5 o'clock in the morning somewhere.
Yeah. So, there are a lot of things that we can't talk about that happened last weekend, but it's okay. We'll have to leave that for another show.
That's right. Miami, they aren't going to these fancy golf stuff like that. Nah, man, let's meet up, let's do this. Yeah. Let's get on a boat. Next thing you know, you're handling business.
Yeah.
The point I have so much leverage on everybody needs to start like separating it in folders so that way it's easily searchable on the phone. Now I'm starting to get like 5 or 6 years.
Content. Yeah. After hours content.
It's pretty clean, though. I don't think I have it.
Yeah, no, this guy?
Pretty clean. Pretty clean guy. Nick dips out. Once he gets back, Nick will go home.
Yes.
Kayla's new to the team. We gotta get dirt on her.
I'm so wholesome.
Oh, really?
That's why you need dirt. Dude, start talking like that. Okay, I gotta have something on you.
Happy to be here, and thanks for this. And I really, think this is a great format you guys are doing. So kudos to creating content that's useful for people. So
I appreciate that, man. Honestly, it's gonna be a work in progress. Every episode, every time we have a new guest, we're gonna learn something different.
Yeah.
I'm gonna learn something from you all as well. So this is perfect.
They've gotten to a place where those meetings are just crazy. I mean, there's a lot of people.
I went to the first one last week and I could barely move in the building.
Yeah.
And it's Wednesday.
Yeah.
Everybody's dressed in suits. You can tell they just came from the office, but I met like 20 people.
But our format is very different. It's not just show up, have a drink, and network. We want to actually invite people who are working in tech in their real estate context, like the reef technologies of the world, to explain their processes and how they transition from, maybe starting out with some very basic off-the-shelf type software or their cloud systems or whatnot, to now maybe having their own proprietary sauce and algorithms and things that they've built and developed over the years.
Welcome to my block. I'm John Pittman, the token advisor, but I'm also a bartender at one of the hottest spots in Miami. Here, I welcome guests from around the world to open the tab and hang around for a cocktail and some conversation.
What's up, brother? How's it going?
This thing's amazing, man.
Welcome
to the vlog. How we doing?
Very good, man. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for joining me.
Super early, but it's all good.
I mean, they don't know that in the audience. I don't want them knowing that I'm about to make a drink for you at 8 o'clock on a Thursday morning.
Well, so it's Miami.
That's fair. I mean, nobody judges here.
Yeah, nobody judges here. We do what we want to do.
Well, you know what? I got something to ease you into the sauce.
Okay.
I'm gonna go get something started for you. In the meantime, I know you were out last night.
Yes, I was.
I would love to hear about that.
Sure. Last night we started off a really cool series called Retech, and it's basically a continuation of my urbanism summit that I've produced here in Miami for the past 5 or 6 years. So basically, it's a meetup where we're talking about prop tech and how that affects real estate, and make our processes a lot more efficient. So we had a really cool guest from Reef Technologies, Adrian Zenestat, and we had a really good talk, fireside chat and mixer. So basically want to bridge a lot of real estate professionals, investors, fund managers, with startups who are working on solutions within the tech space. So prop tech, retech. So that was last night. It was great. Great turnout for a first time. And we look to do these bi-weekly.
It's not like a rager.
No, it's not.
Miami, outside of Miami, think we just rage at every event that we host out here.
Listen, you can rage every night in Miami, but we're trying to bring value to a community of professionals who are really concerned about the future of the built environment. And so, it's definitely not one of those, just to go out and get, sauced up and be not productive the next day. Look, I'm here, right?
Yeah, that's
Okay. I made it through the night. It wasn't one of those.
It's a hard life out here.
It's a super hard life.
Speaking of sauce, I got a stuffed drink. I know typically you come into Moxie's, you always get wine and you also get tequila, depending on what type of mood you're in. So combine both of those into a breakfast drink. So it's a play on the Aperol Spritzer.
Okay.
Add a little tequila to it.
Okay.
There's a little wine in there, Prosecco. And I'm calling it the NFT Sunrise. So this is how we make the NFT Sunrise.
NFT Sunrise, I like that. Tequila for breakfast.
Yeah, cheers.
All right, so where's yours, man? Cheers.
Man,
where we cheers up?
I'm at both of my jobs right now, so I have to make sure that I am judicious in how I decide.
It's not because I'm on camera, but I'm saying this is actually quite delicious. So thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah,
I mean, honestly,
you always do good stuff.
I hope you just don't go straight into the streets right after you leave this interview.
No.
My last guest, that's what happened to him.
Yeah, really. No, yeah, I have a lot on my plate today, but I'm just happy to be here, and thanks for this. And I really, think this is a great format you guys are doing. So kudos to creating content that's useful for people. So
I appreciate that, man. Honestly, it's going to be a work in progress every episode. Every time we have a new guest, we're going to learn something different. Yeah. I'm going to learn something from you all as well. So this is perfect. So with these mixers, how did you go about creating this networking event? What was the thought process or the background that, I guess?
Yeah, about 6 years ago, I really wanted to dial in on how do I create impact where I live. And while I was building a startup here, it was an online marketplace to connect freelance writers and journalists with marketing agencies that need content for them. And so, we trying to build a startup in Miami at that time. Our tech scene was extremely nascent. Huh?
What was this?
So we're in 2022, 6 years ago. What do the math there? What's that? 2016.
I mean, 6 years ago sounds like 2010 right now. That's 2016.
Yeah, 2016. So it was a very young, tech scene, just trying to get started. Yeah. And so one of the big frustration was, where are our mentors, access to capital, things like that. And so I created a group of talks that would really get all of our founders together, any investor in the scene that were kind of interested in tech. Miami knew real estate very well, real estate investing very well, but tech was not one of those things. So after having these talks and really having people air their frustration and saw this sort of like crowded gathered, brought together, I said, let me expand this outside of tech so that it could be a lot more inclusive of everyone kind of participating. Right. Because tech is super narrow, right? So if you want community participation, buy-in, as far as like civic engagement, you have to really open up your subject.
Especially every industry is starting to incorporate tech as well. But anyway, even if you're a refrigerator repairman, you got a tech component to it.
Listen, everything is tech-enabled one way or the other. So just kind of fast forward, I decided to create the Urbanism Summit, which basically became a one-day, full-day conference, bringing together architects, developers, real estate developers, people in the investment space, real estate, but also planners and people in government who are writing policy. So I intentionally wanted to be a generalist and to create a mashup of all these disciplines to figure out how, when you put people in a room together, how they behave in creating collaboration, to work on issues around affordable housing. We're dealing with, climate change and climate migration and all how that affects population and how that they shift and the burden it puts on cities versus creating new cities and all those things and, urban development in reality. So fast forward, 6 years, we've been doing it. Our last conference that we had in person was 2019. Of course, COVID hit.
Pre-COVID.
Yeah, 2020. And that was like, we had about 400, professionals that stayed a full day in the design district for our conference. And it was pretty dope. So, now we're getting back into creating that steam of, building back the community, creating engagement. And so this ReTech, PropTech meetup every other Wednesday is part of leading back up to a main summit later this year. But we want to keep it as a community that continues to grow in that space.
And honestly, Freehold, they've been kind of hosting some tech events on the off time of the off weeks that you're doing it, and it really brought like an initial sizable crowd to these events. Yeah. And then I think you had your first Retech mixer during Hackathon week.
Yes.
Was that on purpose or was that a coincidence? It's brilliant.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I wish I had planned it exactly that way.
This is your chance to take credit, right?
I take full credit, but yes, with Chris Adamo and Natalia Martinez, they've been.
Who are those guys exactly?
So they're the ones who initiated the Miami Tech meetup.
Okay.
And that started actually at Now. It was like maybe about 10, 15 people when they started. So they moved it eventually to Freehold, and that kind of really helped because the space was
it's perfect for
it. We don't have to worry about the elements. If it rained, you're on the roof and stuff like that. So now they've gotten to a place where those meetups are just crazy. I mean, there's a lot of people.
I went to the first one last week and I could barely move in the building. And it's Wednesday.
Yeah.
Everybody's dressed in suits. You can tell they just came from the office, but I met like 20 people.
Yeah.
And I'm drinking club soda the whole time. So it was like,
good for you.
Very engaging.
Yeah, but one of the things about it is that, yes, they weren't supposed to have an event that day, that Wednesday, but because it was Hack Week, and then it kind of used piggyback on Hack Week and through one of those. But that served really well for us because then we just kind of launched. It looked good for us, and we were able to tell people, hey, come back next week. We're doing our thing too. But our format is very different. It's not just show up, have a drink, and network. We want to actually invite people who are working in tech in their real estate context, like the reef technologies of the world, to explain their processes and how they transition from, maybe starting out with some very basic off-the-shelf type software or their cloud systems and whatnot, to now maybe having their own proprietary sauce and algorithms and things that they've built and developed over the years. So things like that, just to kind of help a lot of folks transition. It's like, where do we start? We want to implement tech in our firm and to solve this particular set of issues in how we go about going from a sale to acquisitions and whatnot in real estate. So
you kind of give them a platform. They come to this event with a problem, speak it out to existence, and just so happens this is a tech event, there probably could be somebody in the audience that could have a solution.
Yeah, we're attracting real estate professionals from all different aspects of it, and they're curious to see what it is that they're missing out on as far as being a lot more efficient in their the things that they use, the tools they use to work with. So we have a quick fireside chat. Typically, we have everyone come in first, mix, have a good time, and then we jump in and do a quick fireside chat. I'm the one who's interviewing. Today I'm in the hot seat. Today I'm in the hot seat, but you're doing what I did.
Are you even some hardball questions, or are you just kind of keeping the conversation going?
It's all good. I mean, there's always editing. But anyway, so we kind of kept the format different from just the regular Miami Tech mixer. So that's what's unique about ours.
So last night was your second time doing this?
Yeah, I would call it the first actual one because we actually did have a guest last night. So.
Okay, all right. So last night is going to be more the traditional format going forward.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So if I remember one time you told me at the bar, I think maybe the last time I actually served you a drink, that you were actually working on your own real estate tech platform. Yes. And tell me the details behind that.
Yeah. So in 2020, obviously we were all quarantined up, right? Mm-hmm. So lockdown.
In Miami. Like 6 weeks, but
COVID was over.
But we still feel the effects now,
in 2020, but in Miami, by the way. So one of the things I started to do was, how am I going to get this thing around creating impact out of the summit and this once-a-year conference to something that's more scalable? So I started a series of podcast interviews and named it Urblandia.
Okay.
And it was about impact entrepreneurship. And so that kind of evolved, and I did a bunch of those, kind of paused it for a bit, and then I really started to jump in on ESG, focusing on ESG, and ESG stands for environmental social governance, which are basically frameworks around how do we get corporate to behave, to be a better citizen to the world. So how you interacted with environmental impact, how are you impacting the environment, how are you on social issues, transparency and governance, and how you run your business and things like that. So I wanted to distill that down to real estate. how do we get the real estate developers to do better in neighborhoods?
Right.
So in the United States, you have over 8,700 opportunity zones, and these are historically marginalized, blighted communities that essentially are, put on the map to say, well, if you are going to help revitalize this neighborhood, you can use it as a tax, almost like a tax haven for any gains that you've had. You can invest in real estate funds, what we call old funds there, and put that money back to work in those communities. And that way you don't have to worry about, being taxed for X amount of years, whatever. So that program was created in 2017. Congress passed that.
Are there some restrictions in that? I'm guessing you can't raise the rent, you can't put any super...
Well, the funds themselves are supposed to, do good in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So if you're building out, I don't know, X amount of units, an apartment building, whatnot, you should be able to also figure out affordable housing and allocate funds towards, education, active neighborhood, access to nutrition-rich food, things like that. But a lot of people use that as just an instrument to just kind of park their money, which is the bad thing. It's a bad thing, right? Because the community needs that revitalization. They need attainable housing. Of course, anywhere you go, there's some sort of issue around affordable housing. Miami has a housing crisis, as you already know. And that, of course, just got amplified by 2020 and everybody moving here. But we're helping. What the goal is with the Urblandia platform is really to help create that framework to score how developers are doing and help them measure their performance in those neighborhoods, with their assets under management, and we want to give them a dashboard with the analytics and also the feedback from the community.
Where's the incentive to use this platform? Where is it going to come from?
The incentive is really when you're talking about ESG. Even though it hasn't become 100% standardized yet, which is a good thing because we can actually help shape that. It looks good in front of your investors or potential investors that you're going to raise funds from. One thing that's important about this next generation is that they're investing with their hearts around issues that they really care about. It's no longer just dropping money into a fund and say, okay, yeah, we're gonna just turn a blind eye and go do whatever you want to do with it. No, it's like, okay, well, what are you doing about the environment? Are you killing trees and killing animals and destroying forests or whatever it might be, in the neighborhood, and not doing anything to replace, So, and of course, the real estate development is one of the biggest culprit of affecting our climate change issue because think about it, you have to excavate, you have to dig up things, you have to move trees, you have to destroy ecosystems. And we can't do that indefinitely, so we have to build smarter. So I think that the incentive is if you want to attract these next generation of investors to help continue to do your development, you have to have that sort of mindset and also attract public dollars because there are public dollars and tax credits and all those things to help you with cost savings as you do development in especially these neighborhoods. On top of that, I feel as if that with ESG, aside from the ESG reporting and framework, what we're trying to do is also bridge the community feedback into the system where we're listening to the neighborhood, bringing that sentiment analysis.
Is it going to factor into the rating as well?
Yeah, well, it also gives you a good chance to listen because one of the biggest problems also is that if you're a developer, a real estate developer, just saying you're a real estate developer going into a neighborhood, immediately you're a bad guy. No one likes a developer coming in because they always know that they're gonna come in and fuck shit up. Okay, put it that way.
It's got that eye of destruction.
That's the perception. So to kind of ease back on that, you give the developer the ability to look at a dashboard and say, okay, what's the sentiment of that neighborhood around their needs? You can listen to say, okay, well, we probably need a school. We probably need a community center with activities for the kids and whatnot. We need a grocery store to have access to nutrition-rich produce and things like that. So it's really about how do we build dignified living, and I want to encourage that. And I want to also help with how do we create wealth in these neighborhoods? Because starting out the gate, through the segregation, redlining, and all that stuff that occurred, especially in this country, not everyone came out the gate at the same time. You know what I mean? And so therefore there's a disadvantage, and it continues today. People think, oh yeah, no, you're just complaining about things that happened 60 years, whatever years ago. No, it's still going. I literally talk to people that this happens to on every side and every color, every shade.
Yeah, like some people, it's like their grandma was a slave or things like that, or their parent doesn't even speak English, they're not even a citizen.
Every one of us come to this country, right? From somewhere.
Right.
But the disadvantages, marginalization, the systems that are in place, policy that continues to kind of suppress or make it more difficult for you to get over these hurdles to get to even creating sort of any sort of generational wealth. They're still there, and that's the unfortunate thing. So if I can create impact, positive impact, because we all create an impact, whether it's negative or positive, we are all affecting something in this world because it's all connected. We can't turn a blind eye to it. And so, yeah, it might sound glamorous when I'm in tech, but what does your tech do to help humanity? And what kind of legacy are you planning to leave? Because guess what? We all have to exit the ship at some point, So I want to make sure that I make my mark in a way that's super meaningful. And it's a tall order, but I say just go big, always.
So I'm guessing you're going to be operating between, I guess, politicians, regulations, and the developers, and you're going to be that in between also the community. So you're intersection of basically those three different points.
All of them. You have no choice but to. Some things, you are told early in some of the startup sort of accelerator mindset. Okay, focus on one thing. Your app or software should just do one thing. Well, guess what? Sometimes it has to be all in one.
Yeah.
Not just one thing, because that's how you solve some of these issues when they're that complex. So
1 second, we're about to take a shot real quick.
Okay, let's do it.
All this Mexican candy.
Mexican candy.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah. All right, man. Cheers, brother.
Always. Thanks for pulling up.
Oh, for sure, always.
So before we get out of here, I know you're working on the platform. Any other future projects you're working on, or this pretty much taking a bulk of your time and trying to flesh this program out?
Yeah. So, with any early stage startup, you're always constantly iterating on your ideas. Pivot is a key word in everything that we do. But I've had the great opportunity for me, meeting so many great people, bouncing the idea, putting together that pitch deck, investor deck, and now currently just having interviews with accelerators. Okay. Just to see where we jump into a program and get it accelerated, get our initial investment, and then go from there so we can build it out. So it's taken a lot of my time, but between the Urbanism Summit I'm planning for the later this year, we'll give a date soon. Of course, the ReTech Mixer, which will lead up into it and continue as a community on its own. Okay. It's just basically been really working as a consultant or a consultancy to a lot of these developers around this framework. So I'm doing it as in a manual, direct thing right now as I parse out all my features as it's going to go into a software base. So that way I can be informed just basically how I want to build these processes out. So it's research.
Have you thought about maybe going down maybe a crowdfund type of route? I mean, you're right now in the process of developing a community. One is pretty much already existing.
Yeah.
Did you maybe think maybe like a regulation CF where you could raise up to $5 million from the crowd could be an option?
I mean, you tell me, you make it happen.
That's one of the benefits of it. It really helps connect the investor audience with the issuer itself. So in a situation like this, where you have these people come to the real estate mixer, you have the Urbanism Summit. I mean, you get people together underneath one idea, and you can raise up to $1 million easy. And then obviously with some additional restrictions, you can raise up to $5 million. But then you could take those funds, develop the platform, and then everybody could benefit. And then honestly, I think that could really help with the community feedback, which I think is going to be a big pivotal portion of the platform.
Well,
but that's when you talk to security token advisors.
I'm sold on that. All right, let's do it.
All right, man. Well, any plans this weekend? Streets?
So, the streets are always calling. What's happening this weekend? The Super Bowl?
Super Bowl, Just like it's a party every weekend in Miami.
There's a party every week. It's like, what's on the agenda? Yeah, I mean, I have invites to actually people out of the mixer. I've become like really interested, friends. So we're kind of bridging professional life, and now you're like, hey, you're cool enough to kind of let's hang out. So
network, socialize.
So they want to meet up for the Super Bowl, just kind of watch a game. But they're like, we want to do something low key. Everything's so intense.
Low key.
I'm like, where am I going to find low key for a sports event like the Super Bowl, especially? It's never low key.
Right. Next thing you know, you're in space.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's low key. Jeez. So that's an invite that I have, and of course, just constantly you're always working when you're in startup mode or you have your business. So
always pitching, always working.
Always pitching, always working. And so now it's just really getting into the mode of the production of the actual recording content for the remixer, and of course start preparing for the summit later this year. That's what's in my head.
Well, hopefully something from this podcast can be some great content for you.
No, I appreciate you guys having me. I think it's wonderful that you started this particular platform for yourself, and to bring local entrepreneurs, founders, or just people in the community that's doing something to push the ball down the field and creating impact. Because we all have a story, we all have something to tell, but I think you can really make a difference in continuing to spotlight people who can inspire others to do the same, of creating good impact, positive impact in their communities. And Miami, for sure, we're growing. We're still malleable in a way that we're early, we're young as a city. And I welcome the newcomers. I'm not a hater, I don't hate nobody. Yes, the rent went up, but it's all good.
Apparently you guys are talking about raising the rent at these mixers, I'm assuming.
Geez. Yeah. We're gonna have to get those sponsors in, But it's good to have this infusion of energy around people who are going after things, creating new things, because I think we're designed for that. So little kicking, the shin to just kind of get you going, from seeing other people do it, to wake up and get going. I see your workout videos and stuff, I'm like, I gotta get back at this. Okay, so inspiration, and I think that's a good thing that you guys are doing.
And thank the local community, including yourself. You guys have brilliant ideas, and we definitely want to give a platform so that way the rest of the world, people outside of Miami, can hear about this, so they understand that we're doing more than just partying out here. There's actually business, there's actually networking going on.
Yeah.
And obviously it gives me a chance to learn what's going on even more in depth. Because I see you at Moxie's. A lot of times I don't get a chance to really sit down with you and hear a lot about your project.
Yeah.
But
thanks
for pulling up, man. Honestly, I think that you should definitely start your weekend off on Moxie's on Friday. I'll be here.
Well,
maybe I'll make another one of those for you.
It's not Friday yet? I thought that this felt like Friday.
It's called the Pre-Kind is actually the name of Thursday.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, let's do another one.
Okay.
Yes, man. Hold up.
Thanks, Tom.